Chatting Loki, Season 2, Episode 1. I like this episode. For the most part, I like this episode. We'll get to the very ending, but everything before the credits was pretty good, almost like cinema, I would say. Like time travel to that level, in the sense that it was engaging, big action, time travel-y, you don't know what's gonna happen next type of situation. It was a fun watch. It was a good popcorn watch that gave you a little more to think about because of all the time travel shenanigans. And we got Tom Hiddleston, we got Owen Wilson back together in the Morbius Loki duo. You can't tear them apart. And they were well aware how successful their pairing was in the first season by the time it came out. And by the time they started writing this season, they were like, okay, we got to make sure we get them back together. They're the heart of this show, right? And although, you could make a good case that Sylvie and Loki are another half of that puzzle. And what we really need to do is get them all three together. And I'm hoping we see that this season, But yeah, this first episode, pretty good stuff. Got introduced to Ouroboros, right? Obi. He's a pretty fun character. Played by Ki Hui Kwan. And pretty good stuff. You probably know him from Everything Everywhere All at Once. The Oscar winner last year, Best Picture. And a good movie too. A fun movie. Not just a Best Picture winner at the Academy Awards, also a good movie, because that's not always the case, Green Book. So what was I going with? So that was a fun little situation. Him bouncing back and forth. We'll get to it. We'll get to those scenes. We're gonna go through the episode, and we're gonna get into spoilers. But in case you don't want to hear spoilers quite yet, let me just sum up and say that it ends with a commercial for McDonald's, and it was just it just felt a little distasteful to me, in the sense of these two big corporations coming together as Mickey and Ronald joining team to promote their stuff. And I get it. I'm sure McDonald's paid Disney a bunch and made the production cheaper, although Disney has a lot of money, and I don't really think they needed McDonald's in there. And they, if they were a little bit more courageous, maybe they would have partnered up with a smaller business or something, But they went with McDonald's, of course, where the money's at. And hopefully you use that McDonald's money to pay their actors, right? And the actors in general in Hollywood, not just the ones in this show, because these actors here, they're not the ones that are suffering, really, right? They're doing okay, anyways. But in terms of the leads, but there's other actors who aren't the leads. They're okay. Well, it's still good on the strike, the SAG strike. It's not. It's probably coming to an end soon because the writer's strike just ended. But I guess I just had to mention that. Let's get into the show. So basically, I'm already getting into spoilers now, but that's the general vibe of my feelings for episode 1. Let's get into spoilers. You know, we can talk more freely once this is up, because once this is up, we can just get into the whole plot of everything. But let's get into the video and see where we end up here. Okay, so this is like the middle of the show. Okay, let's go and back up to this. So this is the what's happened last time. It wasn't like, it was I guess a good last time previously on, but it just happened so quick and there's a lot it skipped over that I think is probably really essential, or not essential, or it's really good to see before you get into this episode. So, because it picks up right where it left off, and it's at this emotional height, season 1's finale, that left you like, it was a gut punch that left you like, we just wanted to tune into what was happening next, but guess what, you couldn't. You had to wait until now. 2 freaking years has it been? Damn. And I actually went back. I started watching this episode, and I think I was like 5 minutes in or something like that, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go rewatch the final scene of the previous episode, and I recommend it because it really builds up to it, and it gets you in the mood, and you're a little bit less confused when you get in to episode 1. Basically, Sylvie kills he who shall remain, or whatever his name is, and she pushes him into a time travel door, and he pops back into TVA, but guess what, he's in a whole different TVA, and he's been time slipping between universes and time, I guess. They haven't, but I guess, is it the same thing? I don't know. But he's been slipping in time, and Mobius doesn't recognize him, and he jumps into this mail car, which is a little odd because what was his plan right here? Like right here, this very moment, what was he thinking? Like, did he already see the? He couldn't have been seeing the taxi car. I mean, he has some magic powers, right? Supposedly he can't use his magic in TVA, right? Or it's weakened or something. But did he just take a leap of faith here and was like, okay, I'm just gonna land where I land and hopefully I don't die? He seems not very concerned about it, and he makes it onto the freaking delivery car there, and then falls in here. And this part too, I thought like, oh shit, like, did that woman just die? And he's nonchalant about it. He's like, no, she's fine. And I had to rewind it to make sure, but she does survive, because you see at a certain point in the background that the taxi car just keeps going up. Not taxi, the delivery truck, like, comes up from the bottom screen and flies away with smoke behind it. And it's easy to miss, and it might be hard to even find the still here. I don't even know if it's, oh no, it's not even, it's probably farther out, but you get the idea. And so she is fine, but he notices the freaking dent in the ground there. That's important because that comes in later. This guy, of course, doesn't recognize him, and he has to find Mobius, and he keeps time slipping back and forth, right? But this is a great scene. Like, this is just like a great introduction to this episode, because like it just puts you in the middle of the action, you know, without giving you too much. So that's why I said it's good to have watched the previous episode, the ending, to really get in this groove here. I'm fiddling with this freaking video system here. I wanted to see if I could. Yeah, I can't get to that frame. But you watched the show already. You can go back and scroll through it and see yourself. Loki fun title sequence. Yeah. So this guy, I don't really like this guy. I mean, he's not supposed to be likable, but I don't know. You know, he's just like, he's arrogant. He's like comes in like he owns the place almost. You know, and like, we don't know who you are, buddy. Like, what are you doing, acting all cocky like this? And but still, like, I feel like they could have made that character a little bit less annoying to watch in general. Maybe, you know, maybe that's the point. But I don't. It could have done differently. I'm just saying my opinion. Time slipping into another conference room here. They got to explain what's going on, and I mean, this episode does a decent job of getting you kind of adjusted, you know, especially once Obi comes into the picture. So we got the reveal here that the king heads were back there the whole time. King is in control, and so this council here is trying to figure out what's going on, and one of them believes Loki, the other one is more hard-headed and still believes in what the three gods that were killed in the previous season and what they were preaching. Even though she accepts that they weren't really real, she still wants to uphold their message and their will. And you know, she feels like the prophecies they foretold are coming true, and so that's enough for her to keep with the status quo, you know. While we got a rebellion going on here, because they're figured out that, hey, we're in this freaking multiverse and they stole us from our timelines, and we have to stop pruning these timelines because that's like genocide, killing a bunch of universes, and we want to get back to our timeline and live out our lives, not as these little ants in the TVA working for Kang. We're working for the big boss Kang. You know, what do they get out of it? You know, they're sure they live for hundreds of years, but they get brainwashed. Their whole life is their work. Like, do you ever see them go to bed even? What's, you know? And then Obi himself, you know, mentions that he doesn't go to bed because he's just working. So we need a revolution here at the TVA. We need to eat those bosses, right? And restructure society to something more beneficial to everybody, you know, to them and then to this girl over here in the corner. That's me in the corner, losing my religion. You know, she counts too. We all deserve a fulfilling life without worrying about the next paycheck, about getting up for the man every day. And these guys, like, you know, and they don't even realize that they're stuck in this hell here, do they? He's great. Opie's freaking great. This sequence is probably the highlight of the episode. Just Loki going back in time, and then that, you know, is he feels it in the present that his past changed. You know, by remembering, oh yeah, that did happen. So like, just the interconnections here between, you know, going back and forth, and how he's literally affecting the future by going into the past, and thus the present. It's, you know, it makes sense. It's and just the writing here and the dialogue, it all great, and it's all great. It's all great. He's great, and then it just keeps escalating. We keep escalating, and to the point where shit, we gotta tie these loose threads back together into one nice, like, neat thread timeline, you know. So they have to go in this big machine. It's the time loom or something like that, kind of like a loom that ties together these threads of different time streams. Even looks like one, kind of. And they got to make the decision, you know. And this is a hefty choice here. They have to do this and they have to do this special time tech movement and technique to, like, get Loki to stay in one place at a time, you know, and not be like jerking, time slipping in and out from one universe to another universe. And it's all complicated. I don't fully understand how it works, but it's okay. Obi does, and that's all that matters. As long as Obi knows what's going on, you know, we can trust Obi here. And if they fail, they die in graphic ways, like his skin peeling off, and then Loki being a spaghetti and being separated, every atom separated and ceasing to exist in any universe. Yep. Tough times. And unfortunately, he got transported to the future. So this whole sequence is great. Is this, like, this is the kind of Marvel TV, this is the kind of, like, story that Marvel TV should be telling, really. Like, this structure works well. The idea that, hey, let's have a big conflict in one episode and actually have a satisfying, you know, conclusion to that conflict, which is, let's get Loki to stop time slipping. Let's get him in the present. And that's mission A, and mission A is now complete by the end of the episode. And, like, it feels like, oh, like, we've actually accomplished something. I felt satisfied. Of course, like, it's not like every Marvel show or every show in general should be that way, but we haven't had that in a while, and a lot of these shows just feel like movies cut up into different episodes, and so it feels more satisfying to binge versus the more traditional TV, in which each episode had a fine conclusion, and you can come back next week with something new to look forward to, another problem to solve, and then be satisfied. Maybe not think about it, but nowadays a lot of these shows just cut in the middle of something happening, or not resolving not even a tiny thing, and just letting you hang there feeling like, oh, okay, that's just the end of that scene, but not that arc. So it's pretty satisfying. And here's the big mystery, the first big mystery: who freaking zapped Loki so that he can successfully do this maneuver here, and get back to this timeline. And it's pretty sweet seeing, Mobius and Loki are really good friends, and it's just nice to see them back together, and they hug. He basically jumps into the arms of Mobius. And of course, Sylvie's trying to cram herself in here. She's like, "Hey, what about me? I'm a," and it's true, Sylvie. I didn't forget about you. I think you're a very pivotal character in this series. We'll get to you, Sylvie. I'm sure there'll be plenty of Sylvie coming up. Who freaking did this? At this point, this version of Sylvie is like, oh shit, I was missing Loki, and now he's gone forever. So that's pretty sad for Sylvie right there. Because we cut away, and now he's over here, and there could be a lot of different people who were the ones that zapped Loki, right? We can think, okay, so let's think of time travel movies or time travel stories. Is it Loki himself from the future coming and zapping himself, knowing that he had to do that in order to survive? Like, could it be Mobius who, completes, more his character arc, or maybe, and has to kill Loki to revive him in a way, by zapping him out of existence, and then that, like, because the friendship of Loki and Mobius, you can never break it apart, you can never tear them apart. So that could be, more of a nice conclusion. It could be that guy that is annoying, that I don't like, who's working for the man, and the women, like there was like 2 generals at that meeting, and they're all women, and then everyone, like, that's pretty cool too, girl bossing around. Anyway, so yeah. Let me take a sip of water. My mouth is drying. So it could be that guy. It could be that annoying dude that zapped Mobius, and that would complete his arc, right? Because he was gonna zap Loki, and then Loki took his zap stick, and then he took it back, and he's pretty mean. He's a mean guy. I don't like him. He's annoying. And then we got, I guess, everybody readying up to go after Sylvie, because she's the one who started this by killing, in a way, she's at least the person, a scapegoat for TVA, right? At the very least, he who remains, whatever, is the one who really started it all, right? By fucking up the timelines and conquering and all that nonsense. King the Conqueror. So pretty good ending, right? Like, not bad. We got a resolution. We got Loki. We got Mobius back together. We got a cool new character, Obi. There was some character building there. Loki and Mobius got closer together, and more more hugs and all that, and so that was a nice feeling. And so we resolved Loki, the whole issue of him time slipping. We got that out of the way. Now we can focus on finding Sylvie, and I'm looking forward to that storyline continuing. Like, shit, let's do it. What's happening with the Raven Slayer? Is that her name? Renslayer? I think it's Renslayer. She left to go find He Who Remains at the end of season 1. So it seems that she found him because Loki found a recording of them talking. There's still a lot to discover and find out about them two and what they're up to now. That's interesting. And Sylvie, we gotta go back to Sylvie, right? She's in Oklahoma or somewhere in a new timeline, and she is having a good old time. You might say that she's loving it because she's in frickin' McDonald's, folks. So to some people, it's not that big of an issue. I think they're more tolerant when it comes to commercials. I don't like commercials. But even on the Disney Plus ad-free tier, because I believe there's a freaking ad tier now, right? But even on the ad-free tier, you got to watch this McDonald's commercial right here. If you want to see what's happening in the story, it's a pivotal scene, right? There's no way around it. You got to watch this McDonald's commercial. And you might say, this is not a McDonald's commercial. It's like product placement. It's just part of the story. It makes sense for the story. It makes it believable because that corporation exists in real life. So, etc., etc. And it's part of her character development. She finds joy in being able to choose whatever she wants off the menu because she apparently survived off rats and stuff when she was time hopping beyond between different universes and whatever. So it seems okay, but it's clearly in a position to be seen by many eyeballs. McDonald's paid to be displayed in this way. Basically, they paid Disney and Marvel, whatever, to show them in the light that they would approve of, And the creators are like, sure, we'll work into the story, and it'll be cheaper. The producers are like, it'll be cheaper because they'll pay big bucks. And apparently, it was already written in the story before McDonald's came in. The idea of Sylvie going to McDonald's, but then they later came to McDonald's and to get some money from them, a deal, a sponsorship, and I'm sure that probably embiggened the amount of McDonald's placement in this show. From what I have heard some reviews and about how there's a lot more McDonald's scenes coming up. So it's not like she just comes in here once and in and out, gets a burger or whatever. No, it lingers in here. The whole point of this scene is for her to see these happy people. Like, it looks like a freaking commercial. Like, it's crass in that way that it's not being at all subtle with its intentions here. All these people are happy. She's feeling joy. She's loving it. She's able to, in this free market world, she can choose whatever she wants to eat. Doesn't matter if it's crap and shit. She's got a choice in this, and the clerk is just happy to help. Nothing going on behind the counter. Nothing. Everything's happy dandy. Even in front, people are just having a good old time, enjoying their meal. Come to McDonald's and you can feel the same way too. You can feel like Sylvie. You can feel like your life has finally begun, and you can have some at least a respite, at least a bit of off time where you can just enjoy a nice meal for a cheap price of like $2 now or something for a burger. Let's not acknowledge the environmental effects, the labor issues, just a symbol of capitalism that McDonald's is, and how they spread around the world, giving their money to franchisees and to exploit the value and work of the laborers and extract their value into the profits of the owners, of the big old CEOs, executives, and shareholders, at the expense of the health of society as a whole, at the expense of the planet from all those cows that are roaming and ruining rainforest, by taking up space, producing methane, etc., meat industrial complex, really, of like the dangerous conditions of all those meat packers and butchers and those big old plants, just the disgusting, filthy factory farms, the monopolization of fast food in every corner of the world. At least they try to compete. There's Burger King. Yeah, sure, but what is that? Duopoly? What is that? Does it make a difference? So of course, it's a commercial. It's an obvious commercial. They're not gonna talk about that. Why would they? Why Disney? And so it just reminds me of like that this is pure commercial entertainment, and it's something, I guess, if you're watching Disney, maybe you've already accepted. But have they really force fed you this McDonald's burger, this crassly, this vulgar display? Have they done it to this extent? I don't know. I can't think of it. I can't think of one. There's a bunch of product placement in movies that are disgusting. There's a bunch of music videos, but they're largely in the background. This seems to be a pivotal moment for this character, brought to you by McDonald's. Literally, McDonald's brought her joy and happiness. She's a free woman in this freaking multiverse with the power to traverse time and space and do as she pleases. She rules. Like, she basically took the place of Kang, right? Took his place. He Who Remains, or whatever. That was her whole thing at the end of the season 1. She was like, "I'm not you, Loki." She rejected. They actually kissed. That was an important thing to see. Good to rewatch the previous episode. Remember, they kissed, and that's when she pushed him away into the time door, and she decided to rule the multiverse. I don't know. So maybe someone like Sylvie who wants all the power deserves to eat some shitty McDonald's, but at the same time it feels a little like, okay, so this all-powerful being is going to McDonald's for whatever they want and be happy, and to do that required all this destruction of the earth and the people on it, and the exploitation of the people on it as well, just so she can have a nice burger and fries or whatever. And it's all presented like, oh, it's okay, there's nothing wrong here. And it just reminds me of that Banksy image. There's an image, you can look it up, of Mickey Mouse and Ronald McDonald leading Napalm Girl into a brighter future, apparently. Yeah, it's basically a mix of it's a mix up of that infamous, well-known. I think even some kind of prize-winning Nobel Prize awarded to photo of this girl naked walking down the street. I think there's some other kids next to her, away from a big napalm explosion in Vietnam. You know, a grueling representation of the Vietnam War that sticks in your head, and it's just awful to think about that Banksy plucked her out of that photo, and next to her put Mickey Mouse holding her right wrist, and then Ronald McDonald holding the left. You know, symbols of American imperialism, symbols of American capitalism, really, but that transitions into imperialism when they spread their message throughout the globe, and they spread their presence everywhere they can in order to extract the work, sweat, and tears from people to produce profits for Ronnie and Mickey, at the expense of the environment, at the expense of people. Yeah, so at the expense of cows as well. A lot of artists have critiqued the Ronald McDonald in the double golden arches in our time. There's this one artist called Mr. 1T. They did this image here. Let me hide my head a little bit, and it's a little bit see-through. See, she's like riding on it looks like she's riding on the moon in my background here, but she's writing, "My father is a terrorist," and that's obviously Ronald McDonald's daughter, obviously, right? So she's rebelling against her father, that evil clown. There's Joker from Batman, and there's the It from the It movies. Those are like horrible horror clowns, right? Do awful things. There's also Ronald McDonald in that, and so his daughter, according to Mr. 1T, and I think, I think it's true in that universe, the Ronald McDonald universe. His daughter is a freaking activist, environmental activist, who and a labor activist who freaking hates her father. That's what, calls him a terrorist, terrorizing this earth. Ronnie McDonald. It's pretty cool, pretty interesting. He's done a bunch of different ones, but I'll keep that up there. I might, if I keep streaming, if I keep talking about this show, I might put new different art like this next to the video whenever McDonald's shows up. Art by Mr. One Tees. There we go. And let's put my face right here. If you squint a little bit, it's almost like I'm writing it. You see? So yeah, folks, I didn't like that ending. It kind of like it leaves a bad taste in my mouth, Like, I don't want to leave this show with a forced McDonald's commercial where everything's happy dandy for Sylvie here at the moment at McDonald's. And there were some photos leaked, I think. I don't know if you don't want to know about leaked photos, you can tune out now, but there were some leaked photos I remember seeing where I think Sylvie was wearing a McDonald's uniform or something. I don't know. There's definitely gonna be more McDonald's shit going on, and I keep saying that name. I don't want to say anymore. It's just like, it's kind of what's the word? A bit repulsive. It repels me. I want to have some fun time travel shenanigans with Mobius and Sylvie and freaking Loki. That was getting me hyped up. Obi in the mix as well. We got the Hunter. We got all these cool people. I want to see their adventures, and I think we'll get to see a lot of it. We'll get to see a whole bunch. Coming up, we got 6 episodes, I think, total. And I just wish, what if Disney had gone with a smaller business? What if they just made up, it could be a mom and pop shop. That'd be a fun advertisement for probably some small business. But then also, why not just make up the place? Like, it doesn't have to be a real place. It might be more fun to make up the restaurant, and maybe she doesn't have to be a burger place. Maybe it could be a Thai restaurant. I don't know. It could be anything. Maybe it could be a vegan restaurant. Instead of one where, okay, that's just wishful thinking there in my brain. But you get the point. There's need to be McDonald's. It distracts, and it's abrasive, and it's distasteful. It's not really well done. It's not very appealing at all. But the rest of the show, I'm into it. I'm into the freaking time travel stuff. I always liked time travel stories, because it feels like it's a puzzle, like you gotta solve. And I like puzzles, and who doesn't like? A lot of people don't like puzzles, but I like puzzles. I like that's why I liked a lot of surreal films. I was into like watching time travel movies a lot. Some time ago, I remember that there's a movie called Primer that I still can't figure out. Um, Back to the Future was fun. It's a fun concepts to play around with. That I think this episode actually did a pretty good job with it. Maybe even better than the whole first season almost. I don't know. It just felt like a lot of more gem packed ideas behind time were introduced in this episode. It's just very thrilling and very clever the way they jump back and forth. And it was a good time. And of course, Tom Hiddleston, Owen Wilson, they're just great. They're top tier actors in the Marvel universe. I'd love to see Tom's Loki meet up with Scarlet Witch. Elizabeth Olsen's also pretty good. Like, and they're like, she's a witch and he's like a wizard, and that would be a cool movie with that caliber of actors, and the other actors are good in the MCU, but maybe those are just my favorites, and I'd like to see more of that. But I think a lot of people agree. I think a lot of people are into them too, and that'd be cool. So more of them, more of Sylvie. Would be fun to see. And I'm gonna keep watching. Maybe I'll keep babbling about this corporate commercial over here.